Good afternoon. I am Emma Toops, the Executive Chair for American Warriors and the facilitator for the Purple Connection. This event is hosted and sponsored by Toops Consulting, LLC. David and I are connectors, coaches, and consultants in Toops Consulting, and we thank you all for being here. Welcome especially to those who this is your first Purple Connection event. For our new attendees, thank the person who invited you. They felt that you might benefit or contribute by being part of this community. And to our regulars, it's good to see you. Here is the event agenda. I'll do an introduction to American Warriors and the Purple Connection. Then we'll have our educational networking program with 3 organizational representatives representing a veteran or military spouse entrepreneur, a military support nonprofit or community organization, and a military-friendly company. After the panel, there'll be a Q&A with the panel experts, as well as anyone in the community who has a general question. We'll have a transition tips speaker, which is me, and then some information as far as how to get involved and future event announcements and wrapping up the meeting. All right, so the first thing is an introduction to American Warriors and the Purple Connection. American Warriors is a special interest group of the ACA Business Club, which is a private club with the philosophy that businesses flow out of relationships. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. Thus, members are committed to creating solid connections by learning and practicing the fundamentals of strategic networking and relationship building. American Warriors then are club members who have an affinity with or support those who have served our country in military or public service. The mission statement for American Warriors is provide educational and networking opportunities for patriotic citizens who are leaders in business and support the transition into private and public sector business opportunities for service members and first responders. The Purple Connection is one vehicle for American Warriors to fulfill its mission. So the challenges of transitioning from the military is a very well-researched problem. It's evident by the multitude of military support nonprofits and community organizations that provide services to address those challenges. Driving Community Impact was a white paper published in April of 2015 by the IVMF of Syracuse University. They determined in their research, it was several years of research and thousands of surveys, that the leading gap in services was not that there was a lack of services and support, but there was a lack of connectedness of the services and support. So very often, transitioning military will feel a loss of purpose. They may feel isolated or misunderstood, or they feel overwhelmed for their need of help, but are disconnected or lack affinity to the people and culture of their new environment. So how do you solve it? You create a partnership of stakeholders who have a common goal for supporting the American Warrior. The Purple Connection is a community of partnered stakeholders with a common focus of service, support, and care so that we can effectively address the challenges of transition. So what's up with the name? There's actually 2 reasons for it. In government jargon, the color for joint is purple. When our military is serving overseas in a deployment, that environment is comprised of a multitude of seemingly disparate entities with various purposes, but they have a common purpose through the operation that unites and focuses their effort. The Purple Connection is an attempt to replicate this type of joint environment to support the American Warrior in transition. Another reason is that when you combine the colors of red and blue, you get purple. So in the Purple Connection, we're facilitating the connection of individuals who identify more closely to either the military community or the military support and business community. And when they come together, it's a Purple Connection. Here are the vision and mission of the Purple Connection. We create awareness to enable access and then empower action through collaboration and encouragement to expedite reintegration, support growth and healing, and enable opportunities. We do this by regularly bringing together community experts and facilitating connections through networking and education. Here's the rules of engagement for our panel program and networking. Each panel participant will have 8 minutes to deliver their remarks. There will be a timer. The time can be stopped short and given back for Q&A specific to the panelist, or it can be used up entirely by the panelist. However, when the timer goes off, please wrap up and we'll move on to the next presenter. Once each panelist has spoken, there'll be a 15-minute Q&A with the community. If you're uncomfortable with public speaking or want to remain anonymous with your question, you can private chat or public chat your question and I will ask it for you. Please be succinct in your questions and direct them to a specific panelist or to the community if it's a more general question. If you have a complicated question, you may ask it to discover if there's an expert in the room. But if a response would take longer than 2 minutes to address, I would recommend that you follow up after the event. After the Q&A, I will provide transition tips, which is an educational segment for paradigm or process shifts, or maybe a recommendation to resources that apply to the topic of the day. After the presentations, if you haven't already, use the public chat channel to share your point of contact information, how you serve or need support from the community. Like I said before, the chat will be saved and all attendees will get a cleaned up copy in a future email so you can follow up with each other as you like. I will do event announcements and then wrap up the event. All right. Our first presenter is our military spouse entrepreneur. Janis Dickey is a financial services professional, married to a military veteran, and is a published author. Her current work is business development for an independent farmers insurance agency. Janis, I know you're here, so you are
okay.
Set the timer.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, and welcome to everyone. This is my first time with the Purple Connection, but I have a history. As Emma said, my husband is ex-military, and he's been in law enforcement for 40 years and still is today. And we have a blended family, so we have 6 boys. 3 of them were in the military, and one still is stationed in Japan for another couple of years, and he'll be back in the States, I think in 2024 or 5. And so my professional background, I also had uncles that served in the military, but my professional background is 15 years in corporate America with 2 Fortune 500 companies in positions of sales training and sales management, and then transitioned to entering into UMKC, earning my PhD teaching there while I attended. And of course, when I graduated, no jobs for teachers. So I stepped back and ordered my Series 7 book and became a financial advisor over 18 years, primarily with Merrill Lynch and Morgan Stanley. So leaving home at age 17 with $200 and no prospects ahead of me, I have made my way, which a lot of individuals have done on my own. And actually, I'm in my 18th house. So I kind of bought and sold properties on the side. What I do today is, as Emma said, I authored 2 books, and she showed one, the one that is branded for adults. And then I have a second book that is branded for teens and young adults. So with these books, I also developed an online course. And my quest with these textbook and the course is to present financial concepts and terms that people come across in their lives. Not that the schools aren't doing their best to deliver that information to our youth as they go through high school or college. Some fare better than others, but there's a lot of trial and error that seems to occur. when we get out in that world and we are trying to understand how does this financial paradigm shape up that you find yourself in. So with my 6 boys, we'll use them and as my kind of laboratory, put together the book for the first chapters, budgeting and saving, and then financing and borrowing. And the third chapter is on investments. Of course, I spent 18 years helping people navigate that environment. And then went on, the chapter 4 is on retirement planning. And the 5th chapter is on protection strategies. One of them being insurance, which I now offer, and navigate that world with people every day. What I am very passionate about is helping people to understand how they can make better choices, how they can set up their budget if that's where they are, or if they have retirement on their mind, how they might understand that what's potentially looms ahead for them in that arena. So I'm walking through with people, trying to deliver the content and it's not just a one-way delivery, to have a dialogue. The books are being considered for some educational venues as we speak. And as far as the insurance, a lot of people, I was on the phone with somebody yesterday and today, 2 separate people that are, they just ask basic questions. How much liability should they have? What is it? What does that do? What should I have, drain and sewer coverage? What does that cover? So there's a lot of, in the sometimes 60 to 70 page policies, there's a lot of information that they don't drill down. And even if they did, they may or may not understand what they're looking for. So in all these capacities, we need people to come alongside us and help us navigate and explain and educate, and then have a give and take as to how we can help and how, we can join hands and help each other. So I don't know how much time I have. I don't know if I need to talk. A lot of the times, like my children, I was interviewed on a podcast by Joel Goldberg. And he asked me, did my 6 children, the 6 boys, follow my financial lead? And my response was, some better than others, because they may or may not realize that early on, when they have their first cell phone or their first car payment, that how they pay and how they manage just those beginnings of their financial life can have far-reaching effects when they go to get a mortgage later, or the late pays on the house. And it isn't just isolated to younger people as well. When I was a financial advisor, I had a gentleman as a client, and he traveled all over the world. He had a great portfolio, and he came to me and he said, I want to have you refinance my company, refinance my house. So I said, sure. We got on the phone and we, filled out the application, and he was declined. And he said, well, why would I be declined? Well, he had lots of late pays on his home. And I said, well, why don't you have that set up automatically? And he goes, oh, I'm all over the world. I just pay it when I get home or whatever. So it isn't a matter always of not having the information or having the means to make good decisions, but to put those off to the side because we get focused on other pieces of our life. Like a lot of times our children and what they need sometimes comes first, and rightfully so. All right. Did you want me to elaborate on anything else, Emma?
Well, you're actually inside of your last minute. So
okay,
good
there you
job
go.
on making your remarks inside of 8 minutes.
Okay.
All right. We can move on to the next presenter. Thank you, Janis. All right. Our next presenter is representing a community organization. Candice Haines is one of the co-founders of the Greater Kansas City Veterans Career and Transition Fair. She's a military spouse and longtime military advocate in the Greater Kansas City community through work with local universities. Her current work is with UMKC Talent Link. Candice, I think you're on. I saw you. There you are.
I am. There you are. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hope my glasses aren't reflecting too poorly. Can't live without them. It's great to be here back on the Purple Connection. The main reason that I wanted to chat with you today, again, as Emma mentioned, spouse of Army vet, and spent some time overseas and that whole thing, and just ever since I came back to the U.S. from Germany, had an opportunity to work for a very military focused university prior to being at UMKC, and just really getting embedded in the community, and what a wonderful community Kansas City is. So we're really excited. This year is our actual, I can't believe it's been 5 years, but it's the 5th annual Greater Kansas City Military Transition and Veteran Career Fair, which has moved from Overland Park Convention Center to Union Station for this year, probably only. Just COVID caused a lot of issues in trying to get a venue, but we're excited. It will be live, rain or shine, on February 4th, which is a Friday. We will have free workshops for any job seekers, whether it's military, veteran, family member, or just the community members, really, to come in. We will have free classes on LinkedIn, resume building, mock interviews. All of that will happen the morning before the event. So that will be from 9 until noon. And the actual job fair itself will be from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And I'll post a link to that in the chat as well. We should have about 115 employers there, a little smaller than before with the space, but we'll take it. And I think we do have some employer booths still available if anyone's interested in registering, but we look forward to seeing everybody there and hope for a really, really great event. It's going to be so nice to be in person again this year. So on another note, as Emma mentioned, I'll just be real brief. I'm now with UMKC Talent Link, and many of you are probably going, talent what? It is a very new arm under UMKC and the Innovation Center. Some of you have maybe heard of KC Source Link. That's a nationwide resource for small business. The very founder, Maria Myers, is actually the creator of our division, Talent Link, as well. And so what we saw was a real need in the business, military, and individuals community for professional development, kind of outside of the box. In other words, not just the degree seeking, not just the check the box training in diversity or these kind of things. So we're really trying to be strategic about how we provide different educational opportunities within Kansas City. So what's fun is we're literally at the building block phase. We're talking with community leaders, we're talking with businesses, we're talking with military about what their needs are, and where they think the focus should be in terms of how we're building our program. So really excited, would love feedback from any of you on kind of what you think some of those areas would be. Obviously, retention in the workplace is a big one for everybody right now, acquisition and retention. So we're looking at ways to help companies strategize with that as well. So it's a lot, it's a mouthful. So I will put my contact information on that as well in the chat box. And again, just looking forward to getting back out there in the community with everyone and just reconnecting with people again. So I'm glad to be here, Emma. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So that was very quick. You still have 4 minutes. Do you want to take some specific questions to you right now?
Sure. Does anyone have any questions either about the upcoming event or what we're doing over at Talent Link.
What are some of the educational opportunities that you alluded to with Talent Link? Because I know with Source Link, it's specific to entrepreneurship. So I'm assuming that the information is specific to careers.
Yes. So what we do focus, we do a little bit, we have some small businesses clients as well. But our main focus has been with employers who are looking for, insights, either upskilling, reskilling. There's been such a dynamic shift in the workforce in terms of a lot of new supervisors, a lot of new teams, a lot of restructuring and things like that. And so how we can assist with actual customized coaching and training programs for those organizations at a reasonable price. So we're trying to fill a gap. We're trying to fill a need. And when I'm out talking with human resource professionals, one of the things that I'm hearing all the time is, that's their biggest pain point right now is, how are they getting diverse talent? How are they keeping diverse talent? And that can include military and veterans. Of course it does. The most diverse group there is the military. So those are all the kind of issues that we're talking about. And some of those things, can be in the area of communication. It can be in the area of, corporate culture. It could be in the area of, actually data analytics is a really big one. Everything is big data now. Companies get a lot of it and then don't know how to interpret. What does it mean for you? How does it affect your bottom line, or how does it affect how your strategy? So we actually, one of the first course series that we've launched is a data analytics course. And no, it's not for just the techies. I want to make that clear. It really is for those of us on the other side that, may have spreadsheet after spreadsheet of data and could actually have a simpler way to learn how to actually use that data in a fashion that doesn't make you crazy, and B, is usable and repeatable. So those are just kind of some of the things that we're starting out with.
Okay. So the target audience isn't necessarily the one who is the talent. It's both those folks as well as those who are seeking the talent.
Yes. And we have open enrollment courses as well. So we, individuals can enroll on their own. All of that's on the Talent Link website. It's limited right now. As like I said, we're rolling out a bunch of new programs at the end of the quarter, but individuals can enroll for their own professional development, or we work specifically with organizations to design and deliver a program that works for them. And that could be via Zoom, it could be in person, pre-recorded, or strictly 100% online. So really whatever organizations are needing, we have the resources to build. So it's kind of fun.
Very good. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay. One thing I wanted to plug as far as the topic of the day being insurance is that Candice is one of like 5 or 6 founders of the fair. At least 3 of them are in the financial services industry and have insurance as part of the work and service that they provide. And I will tell you this, when I was getting out of the military and doing my own networking, I specifically went to career fairs like this one, looking for insurance people. So you'll find them there. They have a great opportunity if you're looking to check it out. All right.
In fact, one of our new partners is on this call. I want to recognize and thank, Mark Thompson from WGU, who has come on board with our motley little crew of the Job Fair team and really just helped us kick it up a notch this year. So thank you. Shout out to Mark.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Candice, for being on the panel. All right. So David, go ahead and bring up the slide, but I will talk about who our third presenter would be and just kind of explain the situation. So our third presenter would be Charkenna Whitlow. It's technical difficulties. So Charkenna Whitlow is an Army veteran who transitioned into the insurance industry as a military recruiter for Geico Insurance. She very recently received a promotion to hiring supervisor for their Houston office. So because of her new role and her obligations to her new role, she's unable to make her remarks in person. Now, I talked to her about this last week because she's like, I got promoted. And so I kind of can't do the program now, but she recorded her remarks, but we're having technical difficulties in actually playing her video. So what we'll probably do is when we share the recorded event, we will share her video then.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be participating in the Purple Connection today. Even though I couldn't be there in person, I did want to make a quick video just to go ahead and come on here, introduce myself, say hey, and tell you a little bit about Geico. Now, of course, you know Geico and you know my buddy over here, the little gecko, for our funny commercials. But a lot of times people think that when you come into insurance, you're just going to be selling insurance. Where's the fun in that, right? No, insurance has so many avenues that you can take, and we just want to make sure that you come in, learn more about the company, and find a role that fits for you. My name is Charkenna Whitlow, and I'm the military recruitment specialist for Geico. I'm also an Army vet myself, so I've been there before, making that transition from going the military route and then transitioning into the civilian sector. And I know how difficult it can be. And when you're trying to figure out what is my path, what is it that I want to do? Now, a lot of people do not know this, but Geico actually started as a military-only company. Okay, it was not till later on that we actually started servicing civilians and allowing them to have insurance policies as well. So with that said, of course, Geico is a military-friendly company because we're rooted in the military. Now, as far as the roles that we do offer here, it does vary by office. We do have 17 located throughout the United States. So you're never tied down to just one office. If you start in Houston and you want to go to Dallas, you want to jump to San Diego, that's fine. It's very easy to put in a transfer and move around. We teach you, we pay for your licenses, we get you all set to go. Now, as far as our operations, that typically consist of sales, customer service, and claims representatives. You can move up so quickly with the company. I have been with Geico since 2018, and I actually started in the auto damage department. And I had the opportunity last year to jump on the diversity and inclusion team, which is going to be our military initiative, to reach out to other veterans and let them know, hey, you can come over to Geico and we have wonderful careers for you. And I did the same thing a lot of veterans do. You get out and you think, okay, well, I'll go to school, I'll figure it out, or maybe some employer will be knocking down my door. And that didn't really happen. So I actually end up falling into insurance pretty much on accident. So now what I like to do is reach out to other veterans and let you know you can come to Geico, even if you don't have a clear idea of exactly what you want to do, and we will match you with the role that's going to fit your skill sets, maybe possibly try to relate to something that you was already doing in the military, or we might find a completely new field that you didn't even consider previously. There's a lot of room for advancements and many opportunities. If you are interested in going to one of our corporate routes, that's going to be located in Chevy Chase, Maryland, there you're going to find some of our legal team, actuaries, a lot of our data analytics, IT. So again, anything that you really want to do and you desire to do, we do have it. And then for promotions, we do reviews every 6 months. So every 6 months, we'll go ahead and assess your performance and look at what we call your metrics there. So definitely easy to earn those incentives and move up in the company as well. We have a lot of programs in-house that you can take, and we do partner with a lot of local universities, depending on the area, that can actually give you credits for classes, and you don't pay a penny for it, not one dime. And another thing that we do like to do is make sure that we're offering a very great benefit package. So we have our 401k, health, dental, vision that you're all used to. We do a lot of tuition reimbursement incentives. There's a lot of programs that go on throughout the year. You'll often notice that we do prizes, raffles, events. We are constantly giving back to our associates because you give back to us. Coming into insurance, you don't need any kind of special skill sets. Coming into insurance, you can actually walk straight in, find something that you like, and excel. And you know what? You don't have to stay there. If you start in sales and you figure, well, you know what? This is nice. I don't know if this is really my thing. I don't really like the sales aspect of it, the component, but I really like dealing with the customers. Awesome. We can try you out for customer service. There's different tiers and levels within each department. Also, you can always move into a supervisor role, management role, director role, and so on and so forth. So there's no cap to how much you can improve and develop your career with Geico. So we just want to make sure that you are aware of what we do have. Now, one thing I do want to focus on, we do have a brand new program called our Veterans Leadership Development Program. Now, this program is going to be offered in select offices, and it is amazing. So for this program here, you do need just your bachelor's. It could be in any field or subject, no GPA requirements. You do have to have at least 4 years of service. If you're active duty, 4 years are fine. If you're National Guard reservist and you're just shy of that 4 years, as long as you are still currently drilling, then we'll go ahead and count that time, because we know that you will eventually hit that 4-year mark. So that's also acceptable. Another thing for this one, we do want you to be at least an E4 or above, and we do want to see that you had some type of leadership experience while in the military. Now, if you meet all those qualifications, this is going to be the program for you. This program does start you off at $65,000 salary. It's a 12-month program, but of course, if you're high speed, you can zip right through the program and finish a little bit sooner. And you'll be completing the training in person at the branch that you apply to or the office that you put the application into. After the 12 months, of course, then you would be given a list of locations that do need managers, and you'll be able to choose from that list where you would like to post. And if you have to relocate, we'll be covering those expenses for you as well. So the cool thing about this program is because Geico is a hire from within company, a program like this is pretty new, because once you complete the program, you're jumping straight into management. So you're not necessarily having to work your way through the company. You're going straight to the top as long as you learn our processes, company culture, and just pretty much how you deal with the team. We just want to see your leadership skills and abilities. And we know you have it because the military has taught you those great things. So if you have questions about the program, about anything else that we offer, please feel free to send me an email, reach out to me. I will make sure that my contact information is provided for you. There will be a couple of questions and answers at the end here. But again, shoot me an email. That's going to be the quickest way. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I love to talk to you. Love to get your feedback.
She did share her contact information, a bunch of information as far as opportunities for career with me, and I will include that in the chat channel information that gets shared in the email tomorrow. So that actually shortens our program by 8 minutes. What we'll do next is just move on to the Q&A. All right, so the Q&A is an open forum for questions and answers. They can be focused on the topic of the day. We can have those questions directed to our experts, but it can also be anything in transition in general, because we've got people on the call representing different spheres of influence and expertise in the community. And ask your question if you have one, and we'll see if somebody has a referral or can answer that question outright. So we got 15 minutes for a Q&A. Anybody got a question for our panel experts or just in general to the community?
Hey, Emma.
Yes.
Hey, it's Dave Kepper. How are you?
Good.
Good. Hey, I know a number of the members on the call. I know Janis. Janis, good to see you. I know Candice, good information. Good to see you. Candice, my question is for you. You and I know that I'm disappointed that U.S. Bank cannot participate in the career fair this year, at least not formally, but I'm still interested in attending. And I'm kind of curious from your experience of past fairs, what type of military and veterans usually attend the fair? And I guess where I'm going with that is, are they typically career officers, career enlisted folks that maybe just did a 4-year tour, or what do you typically see there seeking career opportunity?
That is a great question. Dave, and it'll be interesting to see this year with COVID if there's anything changed. Last year was virtual. One of the benefits of our team that we've had from the beginning is one of the partners in the VCF team is Fort Leavenworth Transition Office. So it was Brett Rosine, who's now been promoted up at the installation, and Robert Jordan is in his place. But so we've worked directly with the transition offices at Fort Riley, Fort Leavenworth. We've connected with McConnell Air Force Base and others, so that this kind of became sort of a military sanctioned event, in that if someone was traveling from another installation, an active duty family member, that they would actually be able to have their hotel paid for by Hilton Honor. So it kind of got that stamp of approval early on. So with that, we were able to reach a larger audience than we had a little bit of an advantage there, because obviously the folks that are exiting the military are they're right there. Those are the people that we're able to get in front of. We also took some time and care over, who we invited, really. We wanted employers that weren't just coming in and offering $10 jobs. I mean, albeit someone has to fill those too, but we really tried to look at, based on the demographic of who was coming to the fairs, we want substantial, positions for these people. So we have some, there's some key employers. US Bank would have been one of them. He would have been a great asset in that space. So when we break it down and we report the numbers back to the military, we would say about 50% of them are veterans, already. So they don't tell us whether they did 10, 5, or 20, right? Sometimes it's tough to tell on that aspect, but we do also get a lot of active duty and guard members that are they're in the process of transitioning. So, and they can come from all levels and all MOS backgrounds. But what's exciting about it is that when we looked at the overall demographic of who is there, we have over 75% of the attendees were either military veteran or military family, meaning it's mostly spouses. So only 25% were not in that category. Now that's tough to do. There's a lot of veteran career fairs in Kansas City and a lot of job fairs in general. And so we've been really proud of that number. We'd love to keep that up, but again, times have changed. Things are different. We're all a little kind of biting our fingernails a little bit, saying, who are people going to actually come? I mean, for all intents and purposes, we filled up, not concerned on the employer standpoint. People need people. But we're hoping that the word gets out, to the community that come one, come all. And, we'll have, again, we're trying to have employers from all different walks, not just that, sometimes you get a typical demographic at a military job fair where it's all federal or it's all police or, some of those things, which are all wonderful. But some of the feedback that we've received is, we want a diverse, group of employers, not just sort of the typical sort of standby that may logically maybe people think that they're going to go. Federal service is a natural fit. Nothing wrong with that. But again, we're really trying to represent all of what Kansas City has to offer. In fact, there are employers that will come from out of state as well. So
Nice.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear.
I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. And it's good. It's good to hear the balance. As you know, speaking of out of state, US Bank's headquartered in Minnesota, and I had buy-in on the sponsorship, and we were even going to fly in a recruiter from Minnesota to participate. So we'll be there probably next time. I think with the spike in COVID and Omicron, our recruiting team's got a little spooked. They didn't want to put someone on a plane to come down and participate, but I love it. And I'll probably see you out there anyway, just in my own personal support of the fair.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
All right.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you for the question and very detailed, comprehensive response. That's actually a really great statistic. I love that 75% of the intended audience is actually coming.
Yeah.
So there'll be people like me who are part of the Purple Connection, folks in the support community who will also be there because we want to know who's military friendly as far as hiring opportunities.
Exactly.
So you will find me there. I will take a few laps around the place and see who's there. So David Komar has his hand up. So you have a question, David?
Yes, Emma, I do. Candice, I'm going to be in town during that week of the 4th. I'm not looking for a job, and I haven't quite grown my company enough yet to participate as a employer. But do you need any volunteer assistance down there? Do you need any help?
You bet. We do have quite a few, particularly during the workshops. We usually have more people than we plan. We thought, well, not that many people will come for that. People come for that. But you know, yes, we can always use volunteers. You and I can talk offline if you'd like to do that. Please, would welcome that. Absolutely.
Okay, I'll put my email in the chat. You can pull it off.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Very good. Very good. Put some information in the chat as far as those who want to volunteer at the event. Okay, we have a hand up by Troy. Troy, do you have a question?
Yes, I do, Emma. I've got a question regarding the project. You're familiar with Emma. Can I just give a quick overview of what we're doing, and that'll tee up the question? Would that be okay on the call?
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So we're working, and a few of you on the call are familiar with what we're doing. We started a project with Junction City, Fort Riley, and an AI company out of Seattle called Astron U. We are working actively with the fort, with the soldiers that are going through the TAP program there. There's about 3,100 to 4,600 annually, and helping them go through the transition process coming in from the military into the labor market. Essentially what Astron U does, and it's founded by a gentleman from Kansas City, his name is Adam Ray, and they have a very strong presence here, is help identify not only functional competencies and what their MOSs are and background, but also look at that individual and customize matching them up with specific jobs within specific companies. So they would have a statistical metrics on you have an 84% chance of succeeding in this role. And during that time, they can intern with these companies. And at the same time, they bring in what's called an online program manager that will give them courses to take that would fill the gaps based on what their needs are if they want to go into that particular field. So one of the things we've have now participating on the corporate side, T-Mobile, J.E. Dunn Construction, Evergy, and P1 Group. And we're looking for other employers in the area. And I guess my question is for this group, one of the things, because we're in the formative phases, we're looking at companies over 500, simply because AI does better with scale. If there are companies out there that either you represent or know about that would be interested in tapping into this program, we'd love to have an opportunity to talk with them. We are also expanding this. We had Commander General Funk, who heads up TRADOC, come to Fort Riley about a month ago, and he gave us a resounding endorsement of the program. We're going to take this nationally. And right now we are expanding the program to represent Kansas, Missouri Guards, and also veterans in the area. And some of you may know Dr. Jim Martin, who is the dean at the Command General Staff College. He's on board with us. Chris Hughes. Oh yeah, he's
perfect. I used to work for Dr. Martin.
He's a prince of a guy. I just really like him a lot. I'm a huge fan of his.
Okay, well, very good. Very good.
And Chris Hughes, who's a retired brigadier general, he's in Red Oak, Iowa. He comes down, works with us quite a bit. So if you all have any ideas, feel free to give me a call. I can post my email and phone number on here, but we're looking for employers 500 up to be interested in tapping into this program.
Okay, share your contact information in the chat channel. Everybody who is attending will get that. Okay,
Great.
I have a question for Janis. All right, Janis, my question is, so you have 3 books. One of them is kind of focused on students. One is focused on adults. Do they have similar content just delivered in a certain context because of who the target audience is? I think you may have said that, but I think I missed it.
Actually, I revised recently both versions and they sync up. I mean, they almost mirror each other. The online course that goes with the teen and young adult version is more of it has a little bit more younger aspects. I think that the adult version, I have so many people, even if they're in their 50s, 60s, 70s, they come to me and they say, I wish I would have known that information and I could use it. I had a gentleman who retired in his 70s and he was an international lawyer, and he read the book and came back, we Zoomed with questions, and he said, you know, I think anybody at any age could have this information. You know, some of it is going to be too juvenile. If you already have your budget, you already know all of that, that's fine. Skip that part, go on. It's a textbook. It's not a, it's got activities, it's got stories, it's got 500 plus URLs that are research based, so people can go and expand their knowledge. And the online course is in modules. And I tell people that it helps educators or parents or just a individual learner. They can just turn on the module and I stand and I do the teaching. Nice. And they don't have to know the difference between what an equity stock is and an equity mutual fund, or what's the difference you know, the nuances, the drill down. What are all those terms when you go to buy a house? What is a HUD statement? What happens at a closing? So it's a research book. They might not have a use for all of it today, but as they walk through their life, they're probably going to need most of it.
Oh, very good. So you said earlier that there were several educational institutions or
I'm working
educational groups that are adopting it as part of their program delivery or their curriculum. Is that right?
I would love to have that. That's what we're working towards. I actually have a couple of marketing places that we're in negotiations to see how we can deliver it out there. Because of COVID, a lot of the schools were not looking at any additional curriculum. So it's now kind of being slowly presented. I did some workshops for nonprofits and other things like that, other events where they could then go on my website and email me with questions and so forth.
Okay. I was just going to ask about whether or not you're working with local community organizations that focus on that kind of program. When I was in my executive MBA, there was a project that I was on a team for. There was 4 teams that this class was split up into, and we worked with a group. My team worked with a group that was about financial literacy, as far as like simple things as far as business transactions and whatnot. And there are community organizations that do that kind of nonprofit service.
Exactly. There's a organization in Washington, D.C. called Jumpstart Coalition for Financial Literacy. And they actually put together standards for what financial literacy should look like. And over 30 of the states actually have adopted those. My book is written with those standards. I got permission from them. So there's already some inroads in what my book content delivers. It marries up with that.
Perfect. Okay, so the timer has gone off for our Q&A period. So we're going to move on. We're going to move on. And thank you everyone who asked a question or contributed to the Q&A. Next up are some transition tips. So Toops Consulting is focused on supporting students and adults in life, school, career, or business transitions. However, in this segment of the program, I'm not going to talk about my business, but provide transition tips pertaining to the topic of the day. So in today's transition tips, I am offering some insights and perspective regarding risk exposures and insurance decisions. So what do I, a freelance educator and transition coach, know about insurance? So a fun fact about me is that I used to be an insurance agent, and I was building a scratch agency for almost a year. It was Emma Toops Agency, Farmers Insurance, and is what I refer to as my first thing after career opportunity. Now, most veterans will pick up immediately on what I refer to as my first thing after, because unfortunately, it's a statistic that many veterans move on to a next thing opportunity within 2 years of their separation from the military. So my shift to what I do today was not because of a mistake or a lack of culture fit in my decision to go into insurance. So a little bit of background. My expert skills and abilities in the military was environmental risk identification and risk mitigation through education and training. My expertise was all about identifying invisible risk exposures to CBRN, which is chem, bio, red, and nukes, how they can hurt you or kill you or otherwise compromise your abilities towards an objective. So risk mitigation in that context was through informing others of the risk, educating on how to mitigate the risk exposure or the risk itself, and then offering recommendations for decisions for how to operate within that environment. So it sounds a little bit like insurance, right? So the difference in the insurance industry is that the risk exposures are not necessarily CBRN. They're not necessarily going to kill you. But the consequences for not mitigating the risk is usually financial. That's why insurance is considered to be part of financial services as far as an industry. So the skill set that I pursued, it was because I already thought that way. I pursued insurance intentionally. Okay. If it were not for all the activities in building my agency that exposed me to the information and culture gap differences between military and non-military, because I was meeting a lot of people. If I hadn't been exposed to that gap pretty much with every single person that I met, I would probably still be doing insurance. But my skills include bridging culture gaps, information gaps, and explaining uncomfortable or technical information in a simple way. Insurance agents do that. I did that when I was a chemical officer. Well, I do that now because I'm a transition coach. Okay, so David and I launched our business within a year of my retirement to become freelance educators as coaches and consultants. So here is some insight to the topic of the day: risk exposures and insurance decisions. Active duty military all have insurance benefits or access to services provided by the government for life, health, and legal. Now, there's no decisions necessary by the service person on the level of coverage, access to care or service, or reaching a cap or limit for either. Okay, all dependents, that's what we call family members of the service person, who are entered into the DEAR system, which is the admin, HR database. They all have access to the same level of care and service, even when there are special needs. So special need considerations may require some off installation specialists or treatment, but access is through referral and costs are covered for most services. So when it comes to insurance decisions about leaving the military, there's usually a really large gap of understanding for the service person of what insurance costs, what kind of services are accessible, and even eligibility criteria for being insurable due to pre-existing conditions or risky behaviors. Okay, all insurance benefits in the military for life and health are analogous to group coverage, but that's not language that a service person may even understand. No individual owns a policy, and once they exit the military, just like when you have employer benefits of insurance, you no longer have insurance unless it's private insurance. Okay, there's no sign-up period for a service person for their insurance. There's no changing levels of coverage to address special needs. And many of the associated insurance decisions that non-military folks are more familiar with, they're really unfamiliar or have no idea about. An example from me, I had no idea health insurance could cost over $1,000 a month in premium until I got out of the Army. So just recognize that if you're an expert in this space, we just kind of don't know a whole lot about insurance. Okay. About the only insurance decision a service person has to make routinely is yes or no on the max coverage of their soldier group life insurance, which is $400,000. Now, why would you say no to that? But that's about like the only decision that they routinely have to make, yes or no to the max, and who to list as their beneficiaries, because all other insurance for them is personal for their car and their home. That's it for the most part. Part of the reason why I pursued insurance, because I realized, oh my gosh, I know nothing. And so do a lot of other service people about insurance. Okay, shopping for insurance for life, health, long-term care, umbrella, business, all the multitude types of insurance that exist. I was like, oh my gosh, really? There's a lot of them. And there is a gap. So if you're in this type of expertise space, recognize that as far as a transition tip, you can be very, very helpful for someone coming out of the service, because we really just don't know a whole lot about it. So the very quick reference to legal. Now, we don't really consider it insurance, but there are services that are insurance-like as far as risk exposure and risk mitigation. So in the service, legal guidance it's free, right? Powers of attorney, a will, civilian contract reviews, family law type of issues with consults, certified document signing, all of that, we think it's free. It's not. So if that's something that you offer, recognize where the gap is there for folks in transition as well. So to wrap up, recognize that risk exposures and insurance decisions are usually very personalized due to individual habits and behavior, geography, and risk tolerance. For risk exposures that are invisible, you often need to have an expert to help you identify them and learn how to mitigate their consequence. There's a plethora of insurance and insurance-like products and services available. So be cognizant of the gaps that exist, whether you're the service person or the service professional, and seek out the appropriate experts to help you in your transition for well-informed decision-making. All right, we will move on in the program and I will start wrapping this up. Okay, if you're interested in continuing to participate more intentionally in facilitated conversations on various transition topics, I invite you to consider becoming an American Warrior of the ACA Business Club. Becoming an American Warrior affords you with a lot of benefits. You have access to any of the club facilities. For those locations that have them, we have, I think it's 5 now in Greater Kansas City Metro, but we also have club facilities in other parts of the country. There's over 20 interest groups available for you to become involved in. American Warriors is only one of over 20. You have the option to join a business development team, and you have access to all the club's organized and sponsored events. And there are plenty of them every single week, virtual or in person, depending on what the event is. There are leadership opportunities for you to step up into teams or groups, or even at a particular club location. The Purple Connection and Strengths Profile workshops are things that are sponsored, organized, and conducted by Toops Consulting. American Warriors are encouraged to attend and invite guests as often as they can. Other engagement opportunities for American Warriors and their guests are the monthly discussion roundtable, a semi-annual social and guest speaker program, and then stepping up to leadership either by being on the club committee or the executive committee. For future events, next week is the American Warriors Discussion Group Roundtable. The topic of the day is going to be celebration events. Basically, we go around the table and I facilitate the conversation as far as what do these things mean to you? And they mean different things to different people, depending if they're a service person, in transition, or a civilian. So that's what the event is focused on, is just a roundtable discussion about the topic of the day. The Inter-Strengths Profile Workshop is on demand. So contact me if your group you're associated with is interested in learning a little bit more about this strengths profile assessment, because I'll teach you a little bit about it and you'll have an opportunity to take it. And then, of course, the Purple Connection, which is every third Thursday of the month. So it's a month from now, next month. Some of you may have already seen some invitations to the TPC referrals. This is in a few weeks, but this is an opportunity to intentionally connect with me and up to 3 other members of the TPC community. So here in this format, there's only a few people who talk, but in TPC referrals, you get to sign up and you have up to 4 people that you're talking with. People will introduce themselves, the connection or support that they need, and then ask for it. Then all those folks on the call can respond to those asks with referrals or guidance or opportunities. Invitees are actively engaged in the military support community. They're growing their business. They're an American warrior or transitioning warrior, or we recognize them as a server leader, expert in the community, and they want to support. Email invitations go out approximately 2 weeks in advance of appointment times with a calendar link for you to sign up for a session. I'd like you all to save the date of Thursday, February 24th, if you are in the greater Kansas City metro. This is the American Warrior Social and Guest Speaker Program. So the Purple Connection is always and will be a virtual event, but this is an opportunity for people in the Purple Connection who are local to actually meet each other and network. There's going to be a program to hear 5 veterans' transition stories, what they expected, how it played out, and what is their new purpose in life and career after service. You can contact me if you're interested in being part of the event team or being an event sponsor. There's actually several members of the Purple Connection community on today who are sustaining sponsors of this program. And I think Mary is on the call. She is going to be one of the speakers. So the Eventbrite link to the event, that's kind of a tongue twister. I will provide that in the chat channel information that goes out to all of you. So those in the Purple Connection should be getting me emails about that already. Here's the lineup for next month's program. Thursday, February 17th, the program is going to be focused on bookkeeping and accounting. Our veteran entrepreneur is Vivian Pyle for Vivian Says Solutions. Our community organization is going to be represented by Paul Briscoe, who is a development counselor at Grand Canyon University. Our military-friendly company representative is Elaine Kovacs, who is an account manager with Fulling Management and Accounting, and transition tips will be delivered by me. Contact me for any information on anything that has been said or stated in the program, or if you have any questions about future events and activities with what's going on with our work. All right, last slide. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening. Follow up with each other, and we'll see you at a future event soon. Thank you.